All right, so we are on another problem where we're going to add rational numbers. So we have Sherry, and she walked to a new friend's house. She walked 0.75 or 7,500 kilometers, and then she realized she had gone too far. So she walked 2/5 kilometers back the way that she came before arriving to her friend's house. How many kilometers away is Sherry's friend house from where she started? So this is very similar to the problem that we've already done. Um, in our title, it says that we're going to add rational numbers. So remember, you can add positive and negative values together. What we're just saying is that there's a new entry and it may be going in the opposite direction of the positives if we're talking about the negatives. So let's see. So we have that she first started off walking 0.75. So 0.75, and then she realized she had gone too far. So she walked back, so plus, she walked back 2/5 of a kilometer to get to where her friend's house is. Okay. So plus she realized she was going in the wrong direction. So it was 2/5, but it was in the wrong direction. So we're going to add a negative there. And this would be a situation where you would see like a double operation. And so we're going to condense this in just a second. So what we have here is a decimal. We also have a fraction. So the first thing I want to do, I just like to clean up my problem so that it looks a little easier. Is let's get rid of this double value here. So remember, we've talked about two of any kind. If we're multiplying or dividing, becomes a positive, right? So two positives become a positive, two negatives become a positive, and if you have a positive and a negative, so it's an odd number, then it's going to be negative. In this case, we have a positive and a negative, okay? And so that is going to become subtraction. So 0.75 minus 0, oh, sorry, not 0, minus 2/5. Okay. Now, the next thing we want to look at is I see that I have a decimal, I have a fraction. Should we go into decimal? Should we turn them into fractions? The way to figure that out is remember, look at it and see, is it a terminating or repeating decimal? So there's a couple ways. Number one, you could know what the different values are for fifths, right? Which I do. I know that this is going to be zero point 0.4, and it is a terminating decimal. But if you don't know that by heart, then remember, you can always use your calculator. So we can plug in first, let's use the ABC method. So 2 ABC 5. And let's see what happens here. So that is, oh, sorry, second, and then hit the backspace. So that's zero point 0.4, right? So we're subtracting zero point 0.4. Remember, the other way is you can plug it in as division. So 2 divided by 5, and you get the same thing. All right. So I'm going to turn them into decimals, which is my preference anyway. So 0.75 minus zero point 0.4. You can plug this into the calculator and you should come out with 0.35. Okay. If you wanted to convert this into hundreds, you could, because remember, um, we have um, tenths and our hundredths place value. So let's see. We could also say, so 0.35. Okay, that's if we wanted to show it in decimal form. If we wanted to turn it into a percent, remember we could move our decimal or multiply by 100, and that would make it 30. Oh, they weren't asking about percentages. Let me not go there. All right, so 0.35, or we can turn it into a fraction. So if we wanted to turn it into a fraction, you want to look at that number. That number is 35. And what place value did we go to? This is our tenths and this is our hundredths. So 35 hundredths. And then you always want to have it in simplified form. So I know that both of these can be divided by 5. So we'll simplify it a little bit, make it look cleaner and smaller. All right, so 35 divided by 5 is 7. And 100 divided by 5 gives me 20. So either one of these is going to give you the same value. So we have either 0.35 in our decimal form, which is equivalent to 7/20 in terms of a fraction.